Reporters would ask Secretary of Labor Perkins how she should be addressed.
My name is Perkins.
Yes, but what do we call you?
Miss Perkins.
But we say Mr. Secretary to the Secretary of State. What do we say to you?
The Speaker of the House will know better than I.
When the Secretary of Labor is a lady, she should be addressed with the same general formalities as the Secretary who is a gentleman. You call him Mr. Secretary, you will call her Madam Secretary.
And not, please, Madam Perkins.
She wanted to feed the hungry, give people work, put an end to child labor. Yes, there were still many children in the factories and fields in 1932. She wanted a minimum wage and a limit on the hours of work, benefits for people who got sick or hurt on the job, unemployment insurance and pensions for old people. The federal government had no such programs. If you were out of work, without savings, you could starve. If you were old without help, you were helpless. Private charities did what they could. It wasn't enough. Her ideas were revolutionary. FDR said, "I won't have the dole, Frances." She didn't want the dole either. She wanted social insurance. She once said this:
Insurance is the most brilliant achievement of the mind of man.
March 25th, 1911. It's almost quitting time at the Triangle Shirtwaist Shop in downtown Manhattan. Fire breaks out. Hundreds of workers are trapped.
When I saw that fire, I ran right to the door. The door was locked, but I stayed there till about 100 people came there. I saw the people throwing them out. I hollered, "Come on, come over here, maybe the door will be open." But it took a long time before the door came open.
Pauline Pepe was in a crowd at one of the doors that Triangle kept locked. This door and all other doors opened inward, so that the press of panicked workers kept them closed.
As soon as the door opened, we all fell over. But the fireman came in, picked us up, and he took us down. A couple of firemen took us. And when we got down, we couldn't get out because the bodies were right on the ground there.
And just by the most wonderful stroke of luck, Al Smith put her back into the great game. He was governor now.
He asked me how I would like to be a member of the Industrial Commission of the State of New York. No woman had ever been appointed to such a high office in the state before. "It's so astonishing, Governor," was all I could say. "Wherever did you get the idea?"
Well, I've been thinking. Women have got the vote. Women are going to be voting from now on. I thought I ought to show them some attention, bring them into the administration.
But why me, Governor?
Well, I know you. I've seen you at meetings. You can always find your tongue when you're called on. What you say is short and sensible. You don't talk all the way around a subject like most women do.
He spared me, "You have a man's mind," which was also a favorite compliment in those days.
The Social Security Act, as I was saying, covered not only the social insurances, but these provisions of helping the states in their welfare programs for the needy aged and the families for dependent children, what we now call welfare mainly, and also for the needy blind. Those were popular because people were suffering and the states had virtually gone broke and there was no way to help them. Social insurance, on the other hand, was something completely strange to the United States.
Isn't this socialism?
Oh, no.
Isn't this a teeny-weeny bit of socialism? The Social Security Act was signed into law on August 14th, 1935.
It seems to me that if the Senate and the House of Representatives in this long and arduous session had done nothing more than pass this security bill, Social Security Act, the session would be regarded as historic for all time.
How does it feel to be the first woman in the cabinet?
Well, I feel just a little odd.
Do you find it difficult being a woman in a world of men?
Only in climbing trees.
I guess she's all right. She kept still until the president asked her what she had to say. Then she said it. She said it short. She said it so I could hear. I guess she's all right.
In 1938, proceedings to impeach Frances Perkins were begun by the House Un-American Activities Committee headed by Martin Dies. She was charged with conspiracy to avoid deporting Harry Bridges, a communist sympathizer and the leader of the West Coast Longshoremen's Union. The charges were politically inspired. She was a scapegoat for Congress' increasing dislike of the Roosevelt administration.
This I want to tell you. When Dies made his first attack on me on the House floor, he was in a Congress dominated by Democrats. It was full of men of breeding, intelligence, and education, many of whom I had come to know socially and politically. When these things were said about me, they all sat in their seats, except for a few. Who do you think were the people who got up and shouted, demanded the floor, accosted the speaker, screaming, "I claim personal privilege"? That is one thing that will get you your turn out of order. It was Christy Sullivan and Tom Curran and the whole Tammany Hall delegation, so help me God. Christy Sullivan was not much of a speech maker, but he went down the aisle shouting, "You can't say this about her. This woman comes from New York and we know her. I've known her 20 years. This is a good woman."